Are you sure I want to fire?
I'm not sure that you want to. But
Are you sure you want me to fire?
I want on the count of 3, yes. You're going to push into my hand and fire that thing on 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go!
Welcome to the studio, Mr. Gilan Gork. Woo! Mentalist.
Awesome to be here, man.
Welcome. Welcome.
What is it that you do? Just to give a descriptor of what it is that you do.
All right, cool. Well, people know me as a mentalist.
Yeah.
A lot of people have never heard of what a mentalist is. Their reference is the TV show The Mentalist. His character is loosely based on someone like me who pretended to have psychic powers, and then the people attacked his family, and he worked for the FBI and all that. So I don't do work for the FBI, but I do. I do enjoy giving demonstrations and teaching people all around influence. And sometimes I do these really crazy experiments, these mentalist feats, where I'm trying to influence people to think of certain things or to do certain things, where I'm trying to read what people are thinking. And that can seem like psychic or supernatural powers, but there's actually quite an academic side to what I do. Psychology, body language, all of that kind of stuff.
So you can, in essence, read somebody's mind. You can... and this all helps because I've seen your shows. It used to be purely for entertainment purposes, like the wow factor, like the Darren Brown sort of stuff. And now you've kind of moved into the business arena and helping people influence customers, clients, deals, I guess, and even people on the ground, helping you influence how to get a better salary and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was doing all of these things as entertainment, and I'd have leaders come up to me afterwards and say, you know what, we know that leadership and influence are the same thing. Even if we're leading a client to make a decision, which is sales, or if we're leading our team to move in a certain direction because the world is constantly changing, so we have to be nimble and agile. And so how do we actually use these in a practical sense? And so, obviously on the entertainment side, there's a bunch of methodology and there's a bunch of experience that I have there. And so I kind of combined that with certain models of influence that I've created that can actually be used in the context of business. And so that's what I do mostly now is I travel around the world and I speak to leaders and help them increase their influence in positive ways. So there's a difference.
I was about to say, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
Are you just moving into spaces already knowing what people are about before you meet them? Is it that kind of...
So although the
power?
experiments that I do could seem like psychic abilities, I don't hear people's voices in my head.
This is the Tinder swindler right here.
You could really just take over the world.
So, the thing with influence is that it doesn't always work with every person all the time. And the world would be a really scary place if it did. Yeah. But if you know the principles and techniques of influence, then you're able to influence more people most of the time.
And what are those principles?
So there's various principles. I mean, the influence is so broad. The principles that I teach are based on what people are thinking subconsciously every single time they're interacting with you. And if you're able to flip certain switches in people's minds, then you're able to create things like trust and credibility and support. And that's the kind of influence that I teach out there in a practical sense.
And what kind of people are easiest to influence? Also, are you kind of looking at Darren, Sibs and I? Can you tell who is going to be the easiest to influence by just looking at us?
Susceptible.
Sometimes I don't go for the easiest person to influence.
Because that would be boring.
But a weird thing. So a weird thing is that actually somebody who's trying really hard not to be influenced, often they're the easiest to influence. Because we become what's called predictably irrational. So somebody is trying to do their best to be unpredictable, but actually we find that our irrationalities happen the same way over and over and over again if you look at the majority of people. So there's certain ways that you can do and say things that's going to evoke a similar pattern of thinking or a certain response. And Darren, you know this from comedy. I mean, when you do the same jokes in a show over and over, you start to learn if you just pause a little bit more, you get a different response, right? So you almost start to realize how people's responses can be influenced by even small little changes in the way that you're either asking something or saying something or creating a pause before something. And that's because people become predictably irrational. So it's not always like who's the easiest. It's actually like who's the bigger fight you put up sometimes actually can turn you into the easiest, from the hardest to the easiest.
So your wife cannot have an argument with you ever. When she says, I'm fine, you know exactly what she's thinking. Hey?
Well, we know that one for sure. But emotion gets in the way. This is the thing, is that humans are not thinking machines that feel. We're actually feeling machines that think. And so we think that things are logical. And the minute we get emotion involved, it actually can make us think in ways that are not so rational. That's my kryptonite too.
I mean, if I could do what you do, I would enter Survivor, I would enter Big Brother, I would enter every single reality show that has like R1 million prize, because I'd get to the end. I'd get to the end with what you're able to do.
Well, maybe, but people are unpredictable in the sense that as much. So here's the misconception about influence. You think to yourself, and we put all of this pressure on ourselves in life that we need to control the outcome of everything in life, and we have. It's called. I call it the paradox of control. The more we think we actually control life, the less control we actually have, because we're more in tune with what we want and not what reality actually is in front of us. So the best way to actually have the most control in life is to let go of some control.
Mindfulness.
So mindfulness that's self-influence, right? And self-influence is just as important. So I might enter these shows, but I don't control everyone all the time and everything, and so I can't guarantee that I would win. I might have a lot of fun with it, though. But
now I want to do a practical example here. So what is this? The staple gun is coming, guys. The staple gun's coming. But this is, let's say, an icebreaker. So this is, what is this? You've given me 5 cards here.
Okay, so you guys, if I had to say a murder mystery board game, what do you guys think of? Cluedo, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people remember Cluedo from their childhood. It basically is a murder mystery game, and everyone listening right now, you guys can kind of play along here as well. It's a murder mystery board game. You would have to figure out who killed who in which area of the house. Like, was it Miss Scarlet with the gun in the library? And so there were different cards that people would get, and you would win the game if you could guess what was the hidden information inside an envelope. I used to try reverse engineer the game and try and read what my friends were thinking, and then just through deduction deduce what was inside the envelope. Does that make sense? So I have with me, Darren's actually holding them right now, 5 of the 6 Cluedo cards. This is actually from the original Cluedo set when I was a kid. So there were actually 6 weapons, but the wrench was lost. Darren is holding 5 of them, which is the knife. I can't actually see them through the computer.
It's a
so I
rope,
can't remember.
candlestick, pistol, knife, and lead pipe.
Okay, so I'm going to go through a little experiment with you guys with the theme of Cluedo.
By the way, we're live on Facebook. KFM ZA on Facebook.
Yeah, so you guys can tune in and watch this. So this is actually based on how the FBI caught a serial killer. And so I'm going to try a little lie detection type of mind reading thing with you guys to determine which weapon you're thinking of. Now, the thing is, I have to actually get you guys getting kind of connected with the weapon and almost being able to imagine holding it in your hand. So I'm going to turn my back.
Yeah.
Darren, would you go around and you can give the ladies each one weapon to choose, and then I want you to choose one as well.
Must I give it at random, or must they pick one?
Either way, it doesn't matter. My back will be turned. You can do it however you like. Okay. And you do need to look at which weapon you've got. That's important. And when you've got the weapon afterwards, I want you to sandwich it in your hands like this, so that when I come to you, obviously I can't see what it is, but I need you to just keep it in your hand, because I'm going to go through a little visualization experiment, and just keep your hand like nice at, like, you don't have to keep it up here, just keep it down, and then I'll turn around. Does that make sense?
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I'm turning around.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Hand us our weapons, Darren.
Choose your weapon.
So my back is turned, so everyone knows that I cannot see which weapon everyone is choosing. They're obviously being very careful to not let anyone, especially me, see when I turn around. Darren will have 2 cards left over, which he'll put in his pocket, so it's not like I could somehow know what any of them are. Do you all have a weapon in your hands?
We all do, yes.
You know what your weapon is, right?
Yes.
And you guys are sandwiched, so when I turn around now, it's safe. Okay, we're going to try to do this really quickly. I'm going to have to take off my headset here. I'm going to come and share the mic with each of you. I'm going to have to look you in the eye. I'm going to get you to say certain weapons out loud. Whatever you do, try your best not to give away what your weapon is. Really try hard not to give it away, okay? Here we go. I'm going to come first over to Sherlin. Hold on a sec.
Okay.
Okay, so just relax. Imagine that you're holding this thing, whatever it is. Just repeat after me. Say out loud. I'm going to say all 5 weapons. First, say knife.
Knife.
Say candlestick.
Candlestick.
Lead pipe.
Lead pipe.
Rope.
Rope.
Gun.
Gun.
Okay, this is really interesting. There's something that you said here, and it was just by pure kind of coincidence that we started off with knife. And as I said, say knife, you had like a little bit of a look on your face, like maybe you were like not sure. But don't say anything because it might actually tell me, like we don't want to confirm each time if I'm right or wrong. Okay, so but when I was saying you were thinking of the knife, I mean your whole face is so animated. You don't even need to be a mentalist to tell that I do think you've got the knife. I might change my mind. Maybe I'm totally off. And maybe you're just a little bit nervous because I'm looking you deep in the eye.
I'm so nervous.
But I do think that you've got the knife. Okay, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Face me. I want to take your what is it called again? Your pulse.
My pulse.
Your pulse. Imagine holding this weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's taking her pulse.
Okay, just
And he's
imagining...
looking.
Whoa!
Oh my goodness.
It's intimidating, eh?
So this is really weird. Just imagine using this weapon. Okay, that was interesting. Now, I don't know if the camera was on her eyes. The minute I asked her if she can imagine using it, her eyes moved to the side like once and back straight back at me, which means that it was an easy weapon for you to imagine using. So it would be an obvious weapon. The not obvious weapons are the rope, lead pipe, and the candlestick, right? Which would be the knife or the gun. But I think that you've got the knife, so I do think that you've got the gun. And so let's just.
He's creepy, I'm telling you. He's
in
creepy,
your
this
mind.
guy.
That's if I'm right about it. Okay. All right, so there was a bit of resistance there. I think that if you're imagining, because by now you know I'm imagining everyone holding it. I don't know if this, I may be looking into things and I may be wrong, but it might be something heavier that you're holding over here, which is good because it would confirm to me that they might have 2 lighter things, which would be a knife and a gun. Just say lead pipe.
Lead pipe.
Say rope.
Rope.
Say candlestick.
Candlestick.
Okay, say lead pipe.
Lead pipe.
Rope.
Rope.
Candlestick.
Candlestick.
You went a little bit higher on. Which one do you guys think he's got? Rope. You think he's got the rope? And everyone listening to this as well, you know, you can hear his voice. Why did you think that he got the rope?
There was a bit of a pitch there.
There was, right?
Yeah.
There was definitely a bit of a pitch there, a little bit more volume. I think that you've got the rope. So, if we're right about this, and as you can see, I'm not the only one who picked it up, so it's not like I have some special ability. We actually all have the ability to do what I do as a mentalist. I think we've got the rope. I think we've got, with your heavy pulse that I was feeling over here specifically, I think that we've got the gun. And thinking about a gun may do that to anyone. And I think that we've got the knife. If I get this right, it'll be pretty cool. What do we have? Why don't you guys reveal to us? What do you have?
I have the rope, as you
We
say.
have the rope.
You madman.
I do have the gun. It's a pistol,
We've got
baby.
the pistol, and
Yeah.
we've got the...
I've got the knife.
We've got the knife. That's
My
3 out of
goodness.
3. Now, what was so interesting is that the FBI actually caught someone called the Ice Pick Killer. Because they were ran out of leads, they weren't sure what was going to happen. They had the suspects repeat weapons, and there was one guy, every time he said ice pick, he would blink a little bit longer than everyone else. And that was their only hunch. And then, obviously, they couldn't convict him based on that, but then they followed that lead and managed to actually convict him on all the other evidence.
Sure,
Well,
what a
yeah.
story.
Well, my mind is blown. So, do you need any more proof now that he can read your mind? Gilan Gork, the mentalist, our guest this morning.
Oh, wow.
When he said, imagine yourself using the weapon, I said, I do not want to imagine myself
Don't lie.
using a gun.
He said you went there very quickly. Said it in your mouth.
Yes, and remember, there is no supernatural power here, as he says himself. This is a mind game. This is something you want to try and learn. He's going to teach us a few more tricks in a moment. He's here till 8. Hey, Gilan?
Cool.
You good? There's a staple gun. Somebody's going to shoot it at your face.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll see. It depends how confident I am whether the influence...
So you even went and addressed NATO. What did they... Because, you know, I'd imagine you would be one heck of a lawyer or perhaps even a Supreme Court judge. You could have been at the Zondo Commission. And when they lie to you, you know straight away. What a tool in your armory.
Yeah, I've been asked to give commentary. So here and there in the media, you'll find my name in certain articles in terms of politics and certain high-profile cases and stuff like that. It's not a space that I enjoy, though. Like, I enjoy being around people and trying to develop their strengths instead of trying to find people's weaknesses and trying to, So that's why the path that I've chosen is to work with leaders. And it was just so weird because I was doing work with Singularity University. I don't know if you've heard of them before, but they said to me, "What's your massive transformative purpose?" What they call an MTP. And the words that came out of my mouth was, "I want to influence the world to influence the world." In other words, I want to work with people who have influence like leaders. And then 2 weeks later, I got an email from NATO for their Strategic Communications Conference in Europe to say, "Will I be the opening keynote speaker?" Speaking to leaders from over 40 countries, in military, academia, private sector, politics, obviously, and that was a career highlight. So I do enjoy working with people like that, but developing their strengths so that we can influence and lead the world and make the world a better place.
Was this around the time when NATO were trying to convince Ukraine to join Europe?
It was 2018, so
okay.
No, yeah.
So when you were at NATO, that they asked you to present your rapid influence formula. Now, this is something that anybody can apply, right?
Absolutely. A lot of people, when it comes to influence, we need to create influence that puts the person who we're trying to influence at the center of it, that we're trying to create a win-win situation for everyone, right? And so I had developed, as part of my story, we don't have the time today for me to share what my journey was, but I decided at one point to create a model of influence that I could teach others that they can create predictable influence in their life. And so the rapid influence formula is how I've deconstructed influence into 3 simple subconscious questions that people's minds are asking about you every single time you interact or engage with them. And the more positively you answer these questions in their mind, the more influence you have with them. And the faster you're able to answer these questions in their minds, the more rapidly you establish that influence. And so it's really easy. I can give it to you right now. In fact, it's so easy that most people underestimate how powerful it is. But listen, if it's good enough for politicians and military and it's good enough for no matter what we want to use it for in life. So the 3 questions people's minds are asking about you. The first one is...
So is this like we meeting now for the first time?
Yes, so it can be first impressions. In fact, we don't need to meet. You can see a photograph of someone, and just based on your stereotypes, biases, lens of the world, what you perceive to be good or bad or like whatever your beliefs and assumptions are, you will already start to get a feel for these 3 questions of that person, and you haven't even met them.
All right.
So,
okay.
but yes, ultimately, it's through our actions and behaviors that will demonstrate answers to these questions. So if you try to fool someone once, eventually you'll actually lose a lot of influence when they realize that the answers to these questions are negative. Yeah. But ultimately, the 3 questions are, very simply, the first one is, are you reliable? Or can I rely on you? Do you do what you say you're going to do when you said you're going to do it?
So these are the subconscious things we are thinking when we meet a person.
Yeah, so subconsciously you're getting a feeling of whether you can rely on that person.
Okay, yeah.
Are they consistent? Are they consistent in their behavior, in their values? Sometimes you meet somebody and they've got like a certain type of personality, or they've got a certain mood, and then you meet them again and then suddenly they're like really cold. And you never know where you stand with them.
Yeah.
Like that person's going to always struggle to create influence.
We call them moody.
Moody. Well, there you go. In Yiddish, there's
flaky.
or flaky. So that's it. Is, are you reliable? Can I rely on you? Right? If you had to see somebody, a photo of somebody, you're already getting a sense, even just based on what they're wearing, how reliable you think that they would be based on your ideas of the world. All right. The second question is, are you capable of helping me? We all need help with something. It could be something technical. After the pandemic, some people actually just need emotional help. Some people, I just did a roadshow for healthcare professionals, and it was agreed that some people are seeing healthcare professionals just to see somebody, just to have some connection. So, but people always want either something inside, internal, external. Can you help them to get that? They're determining in their mind whether you're able to do that. And the last question, which is actually the most important, and I've actually got a diagram that shows the relationships between these. And so this one kind of holds up the other 2, is people are getting a feeling for, do you care about me? Will you put my interest first? Because I know lots of people who are reliable and who are capable of helping me, but if I don't think that they're going to serve me, put my interest first, I'm going to be influenced more by someone else. So like if you're in sales, that's a big thing. If you got a competitor who's showing more care, as an example. So what the diagram and what the model actually creates, when you're able to answer those three questions positively: are you reliable? Are you capable of helping me? Do you care about me? If you answer them positively in people's minds, what you're developing is trust, credibility, and a sense of support, and that support is bi-directional. You're supporting them, and they're supporting you as well, which is really important, especially in today's kind of world of business.
So in a practical sense, how do I apply that?
Right.
So now I meet you. Now I want to influence you. How do
Yes.
I practically apply what you just told me?
Okay, cool. So the best way to do that, like really, really quickly, is to use what we call mental shortcuts, or the official word for it is heuristics. Have you heard that term before?
Never ever.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What do you think happens more often in the world? People dying in car accidents with two or more vehicles, or from stomach cancer? What would you say? If I count to three and you just all answer together. 1, 2, 3.
Stomach cancer.
Car accidents.
Oh, I don't know.
You're not sure, okay. You think, now, let me tell you, okay, we're in a small studio here, there's just a few of us, and when I do this, literally across the world, even to insurance companies that deal with this type of stuff, car accidents, 95% of the time people will just get a feel that it's car accidents. But the actual answer is correct, stomach cancer. And so why do we get the feeling that it's car accidents?
Because
I've never heard of anybody with stomach cancer.
Right, okay, so we hear about car accidents, we're driving a car every day, we're seeing cars, so our brain, not knowing the actual information, because we don't have the stats in front of us, relies on a mental shortcut to say, well, what feels like the right answer? So this is what we call in psychology an availability heuristic, which is where people will generally feel a sense of the kind of intuition based on what's more readily available for their mind to identify or think of. Now, there are different principles of influence that will trigger the heuristics in people's minds, that if you do and say things in a certain way, people's minds, in the same way that you felt car accidents was the right answer, people will feel that you are reliable, capable, and care. And one of those principles, which is very, very, you'll identify it in your life, is the principle of authority. So authority, quite simply put, is that people will be more readily influenced by others who they deem to be a knowledgeable, credible authority. And you don't even need to hear, you just need symbols that somebody is a knowledgeable, credible authority. There's a crazy experiment that was done by Stanley Milgram, a scientist, who had subjects come in for an experiment. They thought it was to test the effects of punishment on learning. So if somebody was given a list of words to remember and they couldn't remember word associations, they would be given an electric shock. By the way, this experiment is banned now. You can't actually do it, but it was done back then when you could still do things like this. But the actual experiment was to test how people respond to authority. So there was an actor pretending to be one of the subjects in the experiment, and then there was the real subject, and then there was a scientist who was also just another actor pretending to be a scientist. And so the scientist would strap the actor down to like an electric shock chair and then teach them word pairs and then go into another room with the real subject. And the real subject had to ask these word pairs, and if the person got it wrong, which they could hear through this microphone system, they would have to administer electric shocks, increasing the voltage from 15 volts up to 450 volts. Long story short is that they heard audible screaming basically coming from the door of the room next door because the shock voltages got so high. But because the scientist in a white lab coat kept saying to them, please continue with the experiment, we must finish it, otherwise we have to void the entire experiment. What percentage of people do you think continued up to a lethal 450 volts just because a man in a white lab coat was asking them to? Wasn't forcing them to, but just said, please continue, otherwise we have to discontinue the experiment. What percentage? Because psychologists predicted 1/10% would do it. Would go up to 450.
And what was it, the opposite? 90% of
over
people doing
over
it?
70% of people
Yeah,
went up
that's
to.
the white coat authority.
Exactly. So in your life, you want to be able to infer authority, and one of the great ways, there's many different ways to do it. One of the ways to do it is that if you're in a meeting or something like that, and you have a colleague with you, give an expert introduction, like talk well about them. So you can work as a team to be able to speak about other people, because you can't give yourself authority, because it sounds like boasting, right? And so if you're with somebody and we just don't have time, I wish I could give you like these case studies of amazing how people will just answer the phone. The receptionist would be trained to say, hey, you're looking to buy a house in Cape Town, let me put you through to Joe, who's one of our best. He's been in the industry for 20 years and he'll definitely be able to help you. Like sales went up 20% just with a simple expert introduction. So if you're working with someone, just give an expert, just make them seem like an expert, and you'll just find that influence will be through the roof compared to if you didn't do it. It's so simple to do, but it makes a huge difference.
All right, the Mentalist, Gilan Gork in studio now. He's this is the one we've been waiting for. So there are 4 staple guns. Walk us through this.
So here on the table we've got
Let's
4
just-
industrial staple guns.
Yeah.
Is this? Yeah,
It's on.
4 industrial staple guns. So Sherlin, you've never ever actually used a staple gun before in your life, right?
Never. Not a staple gun. No.
But you know that these things are actually designed to shoot into wood. Just feel how sharp these staples are. So I'm just
I can
and they're
confirm
thicker than
these are actual staples.
Yes, and it's not like your office stapler. I mean, these things are thick. They're actually sharpened to a point at the top over here as well. So they're really, really hectic. Now, we've got 4 staple guns here. They're all empty. You were firing them earlier just to get a feel for them. Just let everyone hear how it sounds. Just shoot it right by the microphone. Yeah. Right, so these things are you can actually hear the moment. Don't worry, you can actually see it's actually open. There's no stapling. Right, you can hear so that bang is when the pin comes out and shoots the staple out. Okay, so you've already gone off air. You were already firing these. We know that there's no staples in any of them. We're gonna load one of them, which is this one here.
Okay.
Which I've opened for you, and you can take the staples with the sharp side up. You're going to put it in at the top there, and then you're going to lock and load.
Loading
and
the
so
gun.
Load it until it clicks. Yeah, go ahead and... All right, now this is
Have
the
a look
hot...
on Facebook, by the way.
This is the hot gun.
KFM ZA. Have a look on Facebook.
All right, so here's the thing. I am the only one who's meant to know which gun has got the staples. I do not want you to know.
Okay.
So you need to turn around. I'm going to put the microphone down for just a second, but you guys can explain what I'm doing to everyone as I shuffle these around.
Okay, so there are no markings. These are the 4 exact same staple guns, but that doesn't actually matter because it's not about Gilan knowing which staple gun. It's about Sherlin.
So I must know.
Well, you must know.
Oh.
Okay. Yes, I'm the only one who is actually supposed to know which one, but I'm mixing it around so anyone who's watching, because Sherlin has her back changed. Let's go.
Okay.
What did you do today? I put my life on the line.
So I've mixed them all up. Hopefully anyone watching won't be able to know either which one. So because I want you guys to have the same kind of, anxiety attack that I'm about to have. But Sherlin, you can actually you can turn around now.
Okay.
You have no idea which one has got the staples. That's what's important, right?
No, but I do know one of them has.
You do know that one of them has. Everyone else in the studio is watching me mixing them up. They saw, and so I have got little cards next to each one that it puts them in places number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this would be gun number 1, 2, 3, and 4. That makes sense, yeah?
Yes.
I'm going to try and influence you to think of certain numbers
Okay.
or guns or whatever, right? Here's the thing. I'm going to swap sides. I'm going to come stand next to you over here. You can see the guns there. I'm going to ask you to just look at me first. And I want you to repeat after me. Just say nice and casually, don't think too much about it. Say, for one to start,
For one to start,
one must begin.
one must begin.
Let's do it again. For one to start,
For one to start,
one must begin.
one must begin.
That seems like a pretty good piece of advice, right? Okay, here's the thing. I want you to then think of gun number 1, 2, 3, or 4. Do not say it out loud. Just think about it in your mind. Have you got a gun number?
Yes.
I want you to turn around. And I then want you to go ahead and take that gun. I'm going to turn my back. And I want you, once you've got to look at what I'm doing, just pick it up like this. Don't fire anything.
Okay.
Just pick it up and you're going to hold it like this.
Okay.
Just sideways, okay? Please don't fire anything, though. Go ahead. I'm going to turn around. Pick up whichever gun number you were thinking of. And just hold it around here so I can see that you're ready. Have you got it?
I've got
Yes?
it.
Okay, I want you to hold it up against my hand.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yes, hold it up against my hand. Yeah, but up like that. Yeah, put it up. Yeah, but like that. Like, yeah, exactly. Okay.
So
on
you
the
can
count
shoot.
of 3.
Are you sure?
On
You
the-
sure?
On the count of 3.
Can I just say something? Gilan, you haven't looked to see what one she's picked up, have you?
No, I've not. No, I've
You
not.
haven't. I haven't seen your eyes go there at all.
No, I haven't.
So, Gilan,
But hopefully, if there's no staples in here, I'll tell you which gun I think you chose, and then I'll tell you why I think you chose it.
Okay.
But first, let's see if you did choose. The first test to see that you chose the gun that I wanted you to choose is if there are no staples that'll go through my hand right now.
are you
So-
sure I want to fire?
I'm not sure that you want to, but
Are you
I
sure
have to-
you want me to fire?
on the count of 3, yes. You're gonna push into my hand and fire that thing on 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go! It's okay. It's okay.
What happened?
It's okay. No, it's fine. There's nothing. There's nothing.
Staple. Oh.
In fact, you can see. Can you see the red mark there? Can you see that little red line? That's the pin that comes out that would shoot it. But hold on. Did you take gun number 3?
I did. How did you know that?
You did. Okay, good. You see there, you took gun number 3. And this is the safe gun. Now, well, listen. It was obvious that you would choose gun number 3.
Obvious how?
Because you said the line beforehand, right? What did you say before? I had you say the line, for one to start, one must begin.
Uh-huh.
Which number is not in that sentence? 4, 1, 2, start, 1 must begin. There's no 3. And so clearly,
Wow.
you were drawn to gun number 3.
Goodness
So,
me. That's mind-blowing.
No.
So I was being manipulated, and I didn't even know I was being manipulated.
you had no idea. No idea. But not manipulated is a really horrible term to use.
Guys.
But I mean, because this is just for fun. But now listen, there are 3 guns left. We've got gun number 1, 2, and 4.
Okay.
And obviously by now, you know that I'm trying to influence you to think of any one that you want. And but it must be random though.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously any one that you want to choose in a moment's time, you need to check. Is that obvious? What I'm
And Sherlin, the fact that
Okay, listen. Maybe you think I'm trying to influence you to think of any one in particular.
Okay.
But maybe I'm using reverse psychology. Maybe I want you to think that I'm trying to get you to think that you think that I think that you think. All right. So, but I am gonna count to 3 and click my fingers, and when I do that, I'm gonna ask you to think in your mind of 1,
Okay.
2, or 4. I'm gonna turn my back. I'm gonna ask you, same as you did before, to reach over and grab the gun in that position. And then you're going to put it again next to my hand. Can you see that line is getting redder over there? That's where you hurt me last time.
But no
Okay,
staple.
but here we go. Are you ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Think of a number. I'm going to turn my back. I want you to go ahead and fetch whatever gun that is and hold it up against my hand over here.
Goodness
Good.
me.
Okay. Try not get like the exact place that you hit my hand last time, so that doesn't form a bruise on my palm.
I'm wearing white. I'm going to move away
On
because
the
I
count-
don't want blood splatter
It's
on
not
my
a bad
dress.
idea. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah! No, we're fine. It hurts, but there's no staple.
Gosh, so now from
Did
4,
you choose gun number 4?
I did.
Yes, you did, exactly. Because everyone thought that I was trying to get you to choose gun number 1. I probably said 1, I don't even know how many times. And so that might seem a little bit too obvious. And then you would go for the opposite side, which would be 4, which is exactly where I wanted you to go. But now we've got gun number 1 and 2, which makes this the most difficult part.
so it's
Now it's a
50-50.
Because it's 50-50. The odds
gosh.
are not in my
This
favor.
could go either way now.
This could go either way.
Are you sure you want to continue?
No. Yes. Yes, I'm committed. Which is another principle of influence, by the way. Commitment and consistency. Okay, listen. We've got gun number 1 and 2. For this, I need you to look at me and just think in your mind 1 or 2. So you're either thinking of 1 or 2. 2 or 1. Just say out loud, say 1,
1,
say 2,
2,
say 1, 2,
1, 2,
say 2, 1.
2, 1.
Okay, I'm going to count to 3, click my fingers, and then I want you to just really like lock in on one of those numbers, okay? 1, 2, 3. You got it in your mind? Just one more time. Say 1, 2.
1, 2.
Okay. I have to do something, and I don't want you to see. So just keep staring this way. You're not allowed to see,
Okay.
all right? But I have to do this, and you're not allowed to change. You're not allowed to change your number, okay? So whatever number you were thinking of a moment ago, you have to keep that number. That's the only deal you have to make me. Okay?
Okay.
You were thinking of either 1 or 2. Go and fetch whichever gun you were thinking of right now.
I really don't
All
want
right,
to do
hold
this.
it up to my hand.
Oh, my
hold it up
goodness.
to my hand once you've got it.
Just
I am nervous for you and your palm.
Well, if you think you're nervous now, we've been shooting it at my hand the whole time, but we're going to change things up a little bit. And I'm going to ask you to actually place it on my neck.
I won't.
Oh, no, we're not on this.
I'm not doing that.
Not
No.
on my archery.
No,
not on my
no,
like on the meaty side of my neck. It'll be fine. I trust the process. I feel good about this. Go ahead and
No.
look, I'll bring my neck to you. Are you? No. Okay, that would be the just on the meat, like
Oh,
around the
my.
back. Okay, on the count.
wow.
No,
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, go! Go far!
You didn't kill him. You didn't hit the jugular. My
And
goodness
of
me.
course you chose gun number 2. My word, I'm fine. Oh my god. That was so. Hold on. Had you chosen the other number, or when I thought that you had not been influenced to choose the final gun that I wanted you to choose, I actually had to swap them around. Had you not chosen the number you chosen, or had I not swapped it around, this would have happened. Just be the eyes of the listeners.
Sure. So now he's going to take the
But
remaining gun
The hot
Yeah,
gun.
look.
and he's going
Camera.
to shoot and prove that somewhere along the line.
As you can see.
that
Those
could
are
have been
very,
your
very
neck.
sharp.
That could have been your neck.
Goodness me. Gilan Gork, my man. That was incredible.
I'm shaking like a little child.
Oh, you're shaking.
Why do you do that?
For your entertainment pleasure.
Gilan, wow. Tell us where, if business leaders want to get in touch with you, if you're doing any entertainment shows, what's happening on your radar in the next few months.
Awesome. So if anyone wants to find out more, they can go to influenceinstitute.com. They'll find links to my social media if you want to follow me for daily influence stuff and see videos like this. But also there's a lot of business resources, videos, white papers, and a lot of stuff that I've produced around influence in various contexts. So influenceinstitute.com. That's where you'll find everything.
Sure.
Nice.
Wow. And this video, if you didn't watch it live, it'll be, you want to watch the staple gun thing, if nothing else.
You want to have
That's
Sherlin
hectic.
have a complete meltdown.
I'm going to go home and try that with my wife tonight.
Just remember, for one to start, one must begin.
One must begin.
Yes, that was crazy, man.
Thanks for
That
not
was
making
crazy.
me a murderer on the show this morning.
You would have been in What's Happening at the Courthouse tomorrow.
I would have been in the sun.
Gilan Gork, the Mentalist.
thank you,
well done, my
Gilan.
friend. Well done. That was incredible.
The most fun, laughter, and the most music.
To make you feel great.
Wakey, wakey, rise and shine.
Kfm Mornings with Darren, Sherlin and Sibs. Monday to Friday.
6 to 9 a.m.